Right. And Karen is the Senior Program Manager for Lifecycle Marketing at REI. And as I said, you met Debbie. We heard a little about her. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your role, Karen, and what you do at REI?
Sure. I've been at REI for 4 years, located up in the Seattle area, and I lead our lifecycle marketing programs, and I focus on the membership lifecycle and product lifecycle, and we execute most of our tactics in direct marketing channels, but across growth marketing.
I think if anybody's kayaking, they probably want to get in the boat next to Karen. I bet she's probably pretty good at it. And we did hear a little bit from Debbie about the typical customer journey at American Girl. Tell us what it's like at REI. What's it like for your brand?
Yeah.
Who's buying?
Yeah, so outdoor enthusiasts are really who's buying from REI. So either people who love to go backpacking or kayaking, like you said, or just people who want to get outside for a picnic. And as we know, about 81%, I think it is, of shoppers are starting that journey online. And so we see that even if customers are shopping in store, they're still on their phone, checking reviews, and looking at data of what's the best product for them. Yeah.
And how are you personalizing those interactions?
Yeah, well, since we have that data on what they've been browsing, what they've purchased before, we use that to personalize the journey moving forward. So when you're thinking about on digital, on our website, that looks like personalized product recommendations. It looks like if they're logged in, pulling their name and other member information, their rewards balance, the year they joined. And then we have retargeting for abandon. So if someone doesn't complete that purchase, we're doing social retargeting. We have email abandon programs that help to drive them towards that purchase, as well as targeting our other kind of traffic driver programs.
Okay, thanks. So I wonder if maybe both of you could tell us about the segments within your loyalty program. So who's your super fan? What are your tiers like?
Sure. You want me to go first? So we have 3 tiers for American Girl. The highest is Berry, and that's if you spend more than $500 in a year. So it's a rolling 12 months. Then we have Gold is the second best tier. That's $250, and then Silver is $0 to $250. And even within the Berry, because you could buy once and become a Berry. I mean, you can buy a dollhouse and you're already there. So within Berry, we have those that come back frequently. They're like 3 times a year. And then they engage really heavily on social. And we also do a lot of research. And so we have those that love to tell us what they want, what we should be doing better. So those are the Uber fans. And one last little fun note is we have this one gal, and she will post for us. Like she'll do events where you dress like your doll, and she'll do huge Instagram posts for us, and then we'll repost it. But she is definitely the Uber fan.
Our super fans are our members. How many people here are REI members? Great to see. I've had many of you tell me that too, and so people are proud to be REI members. Publicly, that is our loyalty tier is just becoming a member. Internally, we look at segmenting within that based on whether you're an active member, if you are what we consider a best member. So we have different flags around spend, purchase frequency, utilization of member benefits that might indicate to us that we might want to talk to you differently.
What are some of your favorite tactics for consumer engagement at this point?
Yeah, so American Girl, a lot, I kind of went into it a little bit. They want product first. They want to be the first to see, the first to know. So when we come out with new product that we know we have a limited amount, we'll offer it up to the loyalty members first. And something we just tried a few weeks ago is we're now even tiering within the loyalty membership base. So we offered it to the Berry first. The next day went to the Gold, and the next day went to the Silver. So we're even hyper-segmenting in there. So being the first to get product is big. Offers, they tell us they want free shipping is a big one. They want personalization is another one. They want to be able to use their certs. They want them to never expire. So we are trying a lot of things with the lapsed buyers. And then our goal is to get them through the funnel. of loyalty. So we want the silver to become gold, the gold to become berries. So we'll offer them some of these, and we'll do it through social pop-ups, online, etc.
Yeah, so I'd say similarly, looking at those different tiers of membership, the segments, the internal segments that we look at. And so if we see someone that's an inclining member, what are the different touch points that we can provide to drive them towards becoming a best member? Often that looks like an offer. Other tactics I think that are excited about right now, I think was the question, is looking at how we're better engaging and preventing lapsing members. And so how can we be proactive about that, use predictive modeling, and win back those customers or save them from even lapsing in the first place?
I'm so curious about seasonality and the way you do that. So I live in Maine. I hike in cold weather. That's a very different gear question than your surfer members. What's sort of happening with you guys in terms of engagement over the course of the seasons?
Yeah, and so we see that we use that location and weather kind of data for personalization, definitely, and how we stock our stores and in how we message to different members depending on where they live in the country. And so if you are in a cold weather climate, you might get content that is more geared towards cold weather versus warm weather. So that's some personalization that we do. We also see that members will have those cycles of buying and that they might be more likely to shop during ski season. And so using that information to layer on when we're thinking about is this a customer that we need to save, or is this just their typical buying habit, is something that we're looking at exploring the data.
Okay, great, thanks. Internally, who would you guys say is your most important counterpart? I think a lot of people would say it's the chief technology officer. Some people would say it's the chief marketing officer. Who are your best friends at work?
I would say our data scientist team, working with our analysts. So like I mentioned, that predictive modeling. So, our data scientists help to unlock the different visions I have for, I want to try this strategy. I want to reach this segment. And so then uncovering the specifics around that and who we're actually moving the needle with, looking at test results, and did this tactic drive a short-term increase in demand, or is it truly driving long-term retention? And so they are the most important for really bringing the work to life and being partners. And then, of course, like our CMO and having the work prioritized, because when we're looking at a lot of lifecycle programs, it's a long-term view, right, where we're trying to drive that long-term retention. And so it takes a while for it to come to fruition, especially if we're doing a more maybe expensive tactic and the return on it is going to take a while. But how can we show that contribution margin? And so we need that, that senior level champion to prioritize the work.
Yeah, and I would say there's a lot of very important people. I think CTO and the tech team, we need them for the systems to talk. The marketing and the insight data scientist team to get the data, make sense of it, make recommendations, and then marketing, because they're the ones that will do the creative, put the promos in place. So it's definitely omni approach.
What I think is fun about having both of you up here is what you have in common is a physical retail experience that is truly different and experiential. It's not an REI store, an American Girl store. It's not like, not to pick on Macy's, but it's not like a Macy's. It's a whole different thing. And yet that's also kind of challenging because you can't deliver that on your website. How do you kind of bridge the challenge between who you are in real life and what you want people to see digitally?
Yeah, our stores are amazing. I remember before I worked there, I was just saying to someone, it's basically an adult toy store. It's so much fun to go in. Our green vests, our retail employees are amazing. They are so knowledgeable and they really care about our customers. And I think our members know that they can go in and they can get advice on what's the best tent for them and the way that they're going to use it, but they'll also get tips and tricks for their backpacking trip, and put the boiling water in the Nalgene bottle and put it in your sleeping bag, and it's a heater for the night. Like you get that special one-to-one attention and expertise. And so, yeah, translating that online is challenging. One of the ways that we do that is through our content. So we have a really robust content catalog, and it's broken up into 2 different parts. So one is expert advice, and that includes buying guides, how to choose articles, packing lists for different types of activities. And then as well, we have like our blog journal side, there's just called Uncommon Path. And that includes inspirational stories. So it gets that, fun, why do you get out type of thing. And so that's a great resource for our customers when they're shopping online. And we'll supplement, when we're talking about abandons and people, not finishing their conversion, that will, for higher price point items, we might pull some of those how to choose articles in to those email touch points to help convert. And then a social for the community, people go there to feel connected and to talk with one another. And we have a lot of user-generated content that's pretty successful on our social channels for that.
Yeah, and similarly, you can't beat going to an American Girl store. I talked a lot about just the experience. Online, it's similar. We have to use the content. So you'll see that there's a lot of videos. There's product videos, like mini commercials. So you'll see how the products work. We have a lot of the influencer talk this morning. We will use a lot of our influencer visuals and put it up there. Like we tie in with like different twins, like the McClure twins and the Clement twins. And so we'll put some of the images and the videos because that relates. All of the articles are up there. The museum is a tactic. We have wish lists, but it's, we don't have a chatbot yet. That's on our roadmap, but it is just explaining what the product is. We do a lot of great upsells. So if you bought this, you should buy this to round out the worlds. So we do the best we can, but you can't emulate the in-store experience. Yeah.
Okay, so we've heard so much about first-party data. It helps create a more personalized and meaningful shopping experience, but it means something different for every brand. So of all the things you get for first-party data, what are the ones that are really gold for your loyalty programs?
I mean, a membership is the best, but I think at the end of the day, really, it's what are people buying? Not only what are they browsing, but then what are they purchasing and how often? And so we can use that to expound upon. And you bought your bike, and so, did you get your helmet? Did you get your bike lock? Did you get all your other accessories that you need? Do you want to take that mountain bike and come to one of our experiences and do an intro to biking, a mountain biking class, or learn to advance your skills? And so purchase data, I would say, is the most important, but we look at, proximity to a store, browse data, age, household income, et cetera. But yeah, at the end of the day, what are they buying?
Yeah, pretty much the same. It's the demographics, the family, when, exactly what they're buying to retarget. It's knowing the birthday, because we'll send a birthday message if we know their birthdays. Yeah, and it's just understanding, again, now that we are getting a collector base, are they just coming in and buying the collector SKUs? We started doing partnerships. So again, if you go on the AG site, you'll see Harry Potter SKUs. We tied in with like a Love Shack Fancy, Stony Clover Lane. And so again, we'll see if those households are only coming in for those drops, because then we will target them for those. We'll target them for collector. And then on top of that, it's everything else we talked about.
So we talk a lot about churn, and that's a big deal for loyalty programs. So tell us how you manage that, and also when do you just give up and say goodbye? I mean, a girl does turn 12. Like, when do you let them go?
Well, our membership is a lifetime membership, so we never let you go. But in terms of churn and how do we prevent that, and common like a lot of people do, we take an offers-based approach as our primary tactic. This is one of my main focuses moving forward, and I'm really exploring what beyond an offer can we use as a re-engagement tactic to save a customer? What of our member benefits is the most powerful? And we're getting lots of good data around that. But we try to be proactive as well, so looking both at, okay, someone is either about to churn or has churned, and how can we save them? But then also, how are we best engaging our high-value members, our inclining members? How can we show appreciation for them so that they stay loyal evangelists for us? So doing both, because we know it's easier to save a customer than it is to acquire a new one. So that is definitely the main focus.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a lot less expensive to keep somebody you already have than to get a new acquisition. So same thing, we try and keep them with the smaller offers, and then when we lose them, we have to re-engage usually with an offer or new product. We do lose the girls as they age out, but the hope is they come back again when they're a parent. And then we're trying to the nostalgic angle as well. So if your daughters have grown out, usually people don't throw away American Girl because they were so expensive. So we're starting to look at, we have a doll hospital. Are you guys familiar with that? So what it is if your daughter cuts the hair, the brother pulls off the head, you can send it into the doll hospital, and then we fix the doll for you. And we're looking at some programs right now. So if you think about your wedding dress, you put it in a box and you pay a lot of money and you never touch it again. But the idea is that you could do that with your American Girl, is box it away for future generations, and that helps with the sustainability message as well. So we're trying that, but we know that people are going to age out, but the idea is to get them back in. And then losing them while they're still in our age target is really sad when you ask what makes us sad. So it's keeping them before they leave or getting them back with offers, because by that time it's too late. You have to give them an offer.
And you mentioned sustainability, and I realized we should ask you about that because that's such a hot button for your audience. How do you infuse that in what you're doing, loyalty?
Yeah, I would say from a loyalty perspective, our member benefits include access to shopping our used gear program and also our trade-in program. And so we have set up as part of our product lifecycle journey. If you've had your product for a certain amount of time, we might suggest that you trade it in and educate about that program and identify your specific product that you might be able to trade in for us, and then trying to get you back in that buying cycle as well. But reinforcement of member benefits, and we come out, try to include regularly, when it's a sustainable focused product item, and we're making increased commitments to that as well as an organization. And so really proud of that, and trying to bring it forth however we can.
How about the Black Friday messaging, just because I think that resonates with so many people?
Yeah, so we have been closed on Black Friday for 7 years now-ish, and so it is opt-outside day, and we close all of our stores, all our retail staff, headquarters, we're all opt and hashtag opt-outside, and that has been great for us. There hasn't been a negative impact financially, and it's a great brand awareness story. At this point, it's pretty ingrained. It's no longer that fresh, new, hip moment that's getting a lot of press, but it is a part of our ethos, and it's important.
Yeah, and one other fun thing we do for retail is we have enrollment, which is key metrics, and then we also have use your certs, because that's the repeat purchases. So in stores, in order to incentivize the retail workers to get people to enroll, we'll have contests and offer prizes. I don't know if you do that too with the merchandisers, but that has helped. The retail enrollment numbers went way up.
Gosh. So, so much of what you do, you're sort of bound and inspired by what other retailers are doing. But the cool thing about loyalty is you can get heroes outside. So I would just love to know who your loyalty heroes are. Are you watching Ulta? Are you watching Starbucks? Are you watching Chipotle? Who do you wish you could be more like?
I would say yes. I think Starbucks has really led the game with the gamification of their reward system. It's really impressive how they've done that, especially how they push their customers to shop outside of their normal purchase windows. I think that part is really interesting, and we're seeing a lot of fast food, like in Chipotle, a lot of food places who are trying to emulate that and really leaning into those rewards programs. I think that Ulta, Sephora, airlines, all of those types of ones where you get this really great financial benefit from being a member. One that is actually surprisingly interesting to me is Google. I have some friends who do Google reviews, and they always tell me how Google engages them. And they're like, ooh, look, 10,000 people have said that my review is useful, and now I'm getting to this level of being a reviewer. And they don't offer any transactional benefits of their loyalty, of their participation with their program, but they are driving that. And so I think that that's a really interesting one of how they show appreciation and validation of their members' contributions.
Yeah, similar ones. Starbucks, obviously, just that it's so easy to use, the gamification, and it's the personalization. Like, you can use it when you want it. We'll say, do you want to redeem now in store or your pickup order? And that's something we're striving, and that's tech related, is we've heard loud and clear that our consumers want to be able to use their points when they want to and not the restrictive window. Bloomingdale's is one just personally I really like, because again, you can use your 3-4 times points when you want. They do a lot of the tiered promotions, which we do as well, where if you spend X, you save X, and it gets higher. It's scaled, and that's very effective. So I'd say personalization, ease of use, and just flexibility is key, and then the gamification. Yeah.
Right. So a big problem for a lot of loyalty programs, and I'm sure you deal with it, is people say, yes, I want to join, and then who wants to really be involved in 23 different loyalty programs, and I don't want your app, and leave me alone. And how do you stay top tier, top of mind for them?
Well, I think our membership is a little bit different than a lot of loyalty programs. We are a co-op, which means that we're member-owned, and so I think that's a differentiation point. And what we find, though, in looking at the data of what is most important to our members when they're considering joining, while you asked about sustainability, and there's these more fluffy feeling parts of being a member, it's really the transactional benefits of membership that drive people to convert. So knowing that they're going to get that 10% member reward back annually, that they have early access or exclusive access to certain products, those types of things are the big motivators for people.
Yeah, that co-op positioning is super rare for you. It's a really different thing. I get money back from USAA. I bank with them. It's the same thing. It's like, oh, I'm so smart. Right.
Yeah, and it's definitely down to the offers and the access. But something that works is when you get your certs. So say I got a notice in September, and this is a true story, and it was for $40. I'm like, well, I'm not wasting $40. So I went online and purchased something I didn't even need because I only had to spend 10 more. So I know a lot of people do that. It's free money. So that's why the certs are so important, because it gets people to come back and purchase on a non-holiday or birthday, which is essential.
So this is a question, I guess what I'm trying to get at is your favorite key performance indicators. So why don't you tell us what constitutes a really good day for you in running loyalty, and what constitutes a really bad day for you? What do you learn that makes what's the difference between a good day and a bad day?
Yeah. Well, I would say the best days are days when we get clear results. And on a good day, it's really positive. We just found out that this tactic that we're trying drives long-term retention and lots of demand and, roses and rainbows. But even if the results are negative, if it's a clear picture of that we can move forward from, that's always the best day. And the worst day would be, if we're hearing, a poor member experience is really the worst. We really care about our members a lot. They're the most important thing to us. And so, if we hear about a poor member experience, that's challenging. And we always want to put the member at the center and make sure that they're feeling as valued as we value them. So.
And loyalty is so connected to the brand overall. I mean, 80% of our purchases are done by loyalty members. So when we have a product launch, if loyalty does well, usually the product launches do well. I'm with you. Like, the worst day is where our site crashes and customer service is getting calls on a new launch day. It's when people can't use their certs. It's if we have a promotion and you have to use your certs on top of our promotion. We have a lot of problems with that, the tech part. And then that's all I see is like, oh my God, my sales are gonna miss for today. So it's all connected. Yeah.
Great. And I think, thank you so much. And I think Lisa's going to help us with questions.
This is a great conversation, and I want to. Okay. It's been a long day. Well, it's not even noon, so never mind.
Yeah.
It's a long night. Any questions for anyone? For them?
Great panel, thank you. Jim D'Antoni from Dish Media, and just curious, Debbie, when you have multiple siblings in a household, so the older sister who's aging out, you have one or two younger, are you aware of that in some cases, and are you looking to do like kind of like the passing the baton, if you will, and getting the younger ones involved, and taking over the existing house and purchases to date? Just curious.
Yeah, and it's funny you asked that because I was waiting to see if someone asked that last time with our household data. Some people will tell us how many children they have. Other times they don't reveal that, but we'll know because Bitty Baby, for instance, is the first purchase of many times. That's 18 plus. So usually if they're buying an 18 plus but bought like a Truly Me for 5 years, we're going to know. We can also tell on the months. So if they buy in March every year, July, we're assuming 2 birthdays and then a holiday. We want people to keep buying new and not hand their dolls to their sibling. But even if they do share the dolls, they're going to buy everything else. But I think it's really important. We want people to share, so we're trying to do some more open-ended questions to get the answers.
Focus group of 1. In my house, they were not shared, ever.
We like that.
Anyone else have any questions? All right, well, you guys, thank you so much. That was really awesome.